If you would keep me waiting, I would wait a lifetime. In tricky situations, I will be a lifeline. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, no. Keep coming back for you time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. Ocean in between us, still I feel your heartbeat. There's something about you, baby, that makes me feel complete. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, no. Keep coming back for your time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. The world is going wild when they come for you, and the river's running dry when it all falls through. Don't you worry about a thing, baby, I got you. Yeah, baby, I got you.
Hello everyone, happy Thursday. Hope everyone is good, keeping well. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe button as you enter, please. Oi. Thank goodness it's Thursday and almost Friday. But we're just grateful to be here. Gratitude for the little things, because we know how fragile this world is. Hi Sonia, hey Valerie, hey Maya. All right, let's get on with it, shall we? Yes, so both Harry and Meghan and Kate and William, or Kensington Palace and Archbishop, should I say, released statements regarding the ongoing conflict. And so Kate and William actually released theirs first, which I'm actually glad about, because I feel like it's gonna take a lot of heat off of Harry and Meghan, because I know that some people were literally just waiting for Harry and Meghan to say something, because they were just gonna make a comment regardless of what they said. So Kate and Williams' statement, they said that they are profoundly distressed by the devastating events that have unfolded in the past few days, and they went on to talk about Hamas and the attack on Israel, and that they condemn them, and they basically went on to say that Israel exercises its right of self-defense. So that was the stance that Kensington Palace, or should I really say the British government took, because the royals are an arm of government, and I'm so sure that that statement would have been um, written by someone in government. I don't think the palace would have written that themselves. Um, and then you had Harry and Meghan's statement, which I think took a little bit more of a neutral stance. Archwell Foundation saying, with uh, Harry and Meghan, we stand against all acts of terrorism and brutality. We are supporting our partners and organizations on the front lines in Israel to provide the urgent aid needed and to help all innocent victims of this unconsolable level of human suffering. So trying to be a little bit more neutral, I guess. And I mean, those of you who have been on Twitter today, Spaces today, this has definitely caused some anger between squad members, and understandably, this is a very sensitive topic, um, and people have definitely aired their opinions about it. Um, One thing I will say though, I do think um, on times when fans disagree with anything Harry and Meghan have said, do think it's important to not like lash out in a way that like feeds the derangers too much, because I don't think that's necessarily helpful. But I'm not going to police. This is such a difficult topic that I'm not going to police anybody on how they feel or how they want to react, or whether or not they feel Harry and Meghan should have said this, that, and the third. Your feelings are your own, but that was a statement they put out, and I guess in many ways that was kind of the statement that I expected, somewhere trying to be a little bit more down the middle. And I think it's also just important to remember that Harry and Meghan are humanitarians, but they're not politicians, and they're not royals anymore. So there's only, I think, so much expectation we can put on them. Mm. Black Queen, you said, I guess because they didn't mention in Palestine outright, may have had some people raising eyebrows. Yeah, that's really what had a lot of people raising eyebrows from the conversations that I was listening to in spaces. Right. Next thing. Yeah, I have, or I don't know about you all, um, on the Twitter streets, on the Instagram streets, observing, you know, the royal reporters. I have felt a slight change in the wind, and I'm putting a big S on the word slight. And Dr. Zane from Book Busy on Twitter, I think, kind of summed up what I've been feeling the best. She said, um, Harry and Meghan when Harry and Meghan said that they are done with the look back era and we're moving forward, they meant it. And the more their public appearance center on their work, the less engagement you will see from the rota. But what you will also see is a gradual change of the tone and coverage. They will never be 100% objective or truthful, that we know, and will throw in a dig here and there. But what I see dying down is the snark and BE-ness that is typical within royal coverage. This still exists in the social media commentary, but what you also note is the numbers dropping. Yes, that is also true. I have noticed with some of these Royal Rota rats, their engagement is dropping drastically. And I think at some point, our engagement with them was actually adding more to their engagement than their actual followers. So it's glad to see. I'm glad to see more people kind of hitting mute on some of these Royal Road tracks, because they're just not really worth it. And now we've seen, when you do ignore them, look at how many of them are just dropping like flies. Anyway, she goes on to say, some of the changes I have noted is some accounts who choose to do posts do so with no major commentary. Others will do a comparison with you know who and what and some are actually ignoring Harry and Meghan's stories completely. However, there are those who continue to project their anger, bitterness, and resentment, hint, hint, Angela Latrine, but have run out of critiques, so they lean heavily into the insults. But one thing has worked is the more we ignore them, the less their impact, and one day they won't matter. Yeah, I agree with that. But I do want to just uh, point out what she said about um, they've run out of critiques, so they lean heavily into the insults, and that is so true. Not that they ever really had any fair critiques in the first place, but they were very good at spin, and now they're just running out of steam. And on top of that, the other royals that are just not giving them the sparkle, the clicks, and the cash that they would like. There was almost no coverage of the Wales' mental health day endeavors, but Harry and Meghan got breaking news. Hmm, interesting. All right, this very interesting story popped up today in Byline Times. Confessions of a News of the World reporter whistleblowing for Prince Harry. A former News of the World reporter blows the lid on the newspaper that the Duke of Sussex is gunning for. I'll just go to your comments before we read that. I haven't actually read it, but it looks like it's a good one. Yeah, Annie, we have to remember that Harry and Meghan are human too. Um, Trinette, you said they're royals, just not working royals. Indeed. Yeah, Jamila, there's suffering, you know, regardless in war. War is suffering, and all you can do is, I guess, just hope those in power can come up with something to free people from this suffering. Mm. Oh, guys, we were meant to be picking berries off the trees and drinking from Mother Earth's rivers and living in peace. Look at me reminiscing about being a cave woman, but it's true. Like, we've built a matrix. Like, sorry, I'm just going through your comments before we get on to the next thing. Jane, you said, and you're right. I noticed the German media is giving Harry and Meghan positive coverage. I mean, I don't really know that, anybody else other than the kind of Rupert Murdoch Australian, um, American news that's run by Rupert Murdoch. Other than that, in terms of internationally, beyond the UK, I don't know that anyone else was really ever bashing Harry and Meghan like that. You may have had a couple like snarky gossip clubs, small time ones in some countries. But it was never really like that anywhere else. Other than where Rupert Murdoch and Jonathan Rothermere have their nasty claws. Um, it's really the UK that and Australia that was the huge problem. Thank you, Anne Hall, for reminding everyone to hit the like button, please. Let's help the algorithm. All right. Tony said, I read somewhere that Holly and Schofield had made their peace, and also that she's left this morning. Well, uh, I mean, two people that came together to bully Harry and Meghan and have now both, well, for different reasons, are now offered the show. I mean, I guess they have no choice but to make peace because they're in the same boat now. I think Holly. I mean, obviously Philip Schofield genuinely, I think, did something wrong. I think with Holly, it was more that she feared for her safety. I have to actually read a little bit more into that. But from the little bit that I did see, it's because the whole incident with that crazy guy just made her feel very unsafe. Um, Joyce, you said, and they are not working royals, just not. Sorry, they are not working royals, just not to the royal family. They are the only ones doing any work. Yeah. Oh, I think did you mean to say they are working royals, just not for the royal family? Yeah, that's true. They're definitely putting in the work. I mean, to pull off a conference like that, so well coordinated, yeah, you've got to be putting in the work. Alona, you said you had a few in the US and Canada that were bashing Harry and Meghan, but they were repeating stuff from the UK. Yeah. I think everybody is starting to clock on now that they are just not trustworthy. Oh, and Richard Eden today, I think I forgot to put it on a slide, but Richard Eden today was getting in it with someone. I think he published someone's emails, and then the guy went on him on Twitter, and now he's threatening to sue him. That's going to be interesting. Maureen is in trouble. All right, let's read this article from Byline Times. See what they have to say. The incredible Byline Times. Please do support if you can. I gave them a fiver and I think they're worth it. Okay. So before the summer holidays, Prince Harry went to war with Mirror Group newspapers in High Court over allegations that Piers Morgan's former newspaper unlawfully targeted them. His lawyers claim that Rupert Murdoch's parent company, News Group, stitched their client up by allegedly targeting Harry with landline phone tapping. Today, Byline Investigates and Exposed News begins a series of stories from ex-News of the World reporters who reveal how the pressure from editors also forced her to go beyond the pale. However, unusually, this former journalist, who wants to remain anonymous, secretly fought back and began to sabotage stories in order to save her sanity and protect her moral code. Oh gosh. Okay, so in a series of first-person pieces exclusive to Byline and Exposed News, the female reporter talks the first time about her experiences at the paper. Oh, thank you so much for that, Joyce, by the way. I don't know if I said thank you, but thank you. So she says, growing up, I'd always loved the news of the world. The investigations, exposés, and intrigue. The righting of wrongs, a glimpse into the darkness and shadow side of life. So when I got a staff job at the newspaper, as a news reporter, I was full of excitement and anticipation, mixed with a healthy dash of trepidation. During my time at the paper, I covered the trivial, the serious, the downright comical. I wrote kiss and tells and went to swingers parties. And I went to swingers parties with hidden cameras in my handbag. Jeez. I reported on the trials of serial killers, artists, and terrorists. I followed celebrities and politicians suspected of having affairs. I interviewed victims of high profile crimes. I stood stunned with the rest of the newsroom watching 9/11 unfold. The lifestyle was highly seductive. There was never a dull moment. Every day I met diverse and interesting people, all with a story to tell. I traveled all over the world on what are known as, in the trade as foreigns, dined in fancy restaurants and stayed in five-star hotels, all with a substantial expense account. And on a Sunday, I'd open the paper and would feel jubilant if my name was there, often bylined on top of a big exclusive, knowing that millions of people, about a quarter of the adult population at the time, would read what I'd written. On the surface of it, the job had it all: glamour, stimulation, and a heady feeling of power. Yet my dream career soon started to sour. In the office, I struggled to fit into the aggressive, cutthroat environment, where failure and weakness were not an option. The only thing that mattered was getting the story, and the means always justified the ends. As has been well documented by now, people's privacy was no obstacle. Money was paid to public officials. Thinly disguised blackmail was used at every opportunity. Contracts were created on the last minute, promises made and broken. I worked at Fortress Wapping during the height of the News of the World glory days for 6 years between 1999 to 2005 as a fully fledged staff employee, then for another year as a more or less full time freelancer for them. The glory days I'm talking about money, reach, impact, and power. Story budgets were near bottomless, wages were high, and circulation was still strong. Around the turn of the millennium, sales were holding at around 4 million a week. That equated to a total readership of approximately 12 million. By the way, the United Kingdom population is about 65 million. So that is a substantial number of the adult population reading this newspaper. Knockout, mind-boggling. How the F did they get knockout, mind-boggling. How the F did they get that front pages was still a bedrock of tabloid culture. And the screws never failed to deliver, week in and week out. The paper was hands down the best at what it did. When the news of the world turned up on a doorstep or a breaking story, other tabloids all but threw in the towel as they knew we had the money, resources, and experience to trump every single time. The news of the world was as much a part of popular culture as pop music, football, and soap operas in the UK, and it set the story agenda. After the paper came out on Sunday, daily tabloids scrambled to follow up on our stories, to hoover up any crumbs they could. On a more sinister side, the paper had an extraordinary stranglehold over government and politics, mainly because it exercised a form of storytelling known as blackmail journalism. FYI, Rebecca Brooks, who was, Murdoch's surrogate daughter, one of the ones who was really at the center of the phone hacking scandal, when she remarried, David Cameron, the then Prime Minister, during the phone hacking scandal, went to her wedding. So when you hear things like, on a more sinister side, the paper had an extraordinary stronghold over government and politics, know that these people are literally sipping champagne together. The then new Labour administration was often very careful not to cross Murdoch's interests, and MPs of all denominations feared speaking their mind in case their vices were spread across the pages of papers. And this is a huge problem. Politicians not being able to perhaps speak up against certain things, maybe put forward certain policies, because goodness forbid something you don't want in the papers will show up in the papers. Granted, you should be holding yourself to a higher standard and probably not be getting involved in scandals anyway, but it shouldn't be that the press has that much of a stronghold on anyone. And often, even when you don't have a scandal, what do? They make one up and destroy your name anyway. If you've been following the long-running phone hacking cases at the High Court, including Prince Harry's specific claim, you will note that my time there is slap bang in the middle of what's known in legal terms as the relevant period, which runs from 1995 to 2011. The time span, Prince Harry claims, was when the News of the World was most active in unlawful information gathering. But more on that later. As a reporter, I was under constant and extreme pressure from the news desk, both to generate stories and stand them up, or failing that, to pretty much make them up. It was relentless, and you were only as good as your last story. Bring in a splash on Sunday, great. But what have you got on Monday? If you haven't already watched it, I've plugged it on this channel many, many times, not because I know the producer, but because it is just a brilliant documentary. Watch Starsuckers by Chris Atkins. Starsuckers by Chris Atkins. Because it really, that documentary was made a long, long time ago, but it's even more relevant now than when it was made. And one of the things that he talks about is how the PR industry basically went into overdrive in the way that it feeds the tabloid press stories, because the news desk writers no longer have time to be journalists because they're under pressure from the editors to just pump out anything. So the fact checking is lackluster, if not non-existent. So if some PR company has something to has a story to sell you, well then just take the story because there's a safety net there. Who's Oh, Elaine Parker, thank you so much for 18 months. Much appreciated. Thank you. All right. The story goes on. Periodically, reporters were subject to byline counts, where all their bylines for the year were counted and a league table. So a league table was compiled. So can you imagine? You're not even now trying to get the most factual story. You're just trying to get to the top of the league tables. And likely the fastest way to get there is to just write about scandals, salacious scandals. People at the lower end were rightfully fearful for their jobs. I worked day and night at weekends, over holidays, Christmases, and birthdays. My phone was on 24 hours a day for years, waiting for the call that would tell me where I would be sent. Now, today, tomorrow, next week, I had my passport and overnight bag with me at all times, ready to leave at a moment's notice. I felt my control, agency, and choices diminishing with every week I spent there. My job became my life. Plans were continually cancelled, friendships lost, relationships broken up. I worked too hard, drank too much, lost weight, and didn't get any sleep. I had panic attacks and was diagnosed by the company's psychiatrist as suffering from post traumatic stress disorder from working at the paper. My life felt like it no longer belonged to me. Yet, more than that, I felt like I was in danger of losing some fundamental, integral part of myself. My conscience constantly bothered me. Was it right to doorstep the parents of a child who had just been murdered? I mean, if you get to the point where you're actually asking yourself that question, there is definitely something wrong. Was it right to expose a celebrity cheating on his wife, to tell the world the whereabouts of a child S offender and where they were spending time? During my time at the paper, I did all of these things with a heavy heart and many apologies, yet I did them all the same in desperation to get my name in the paper. I received letters telling me that I was scum. Publicly, I laughed it off. Privately, I agreed. As time went on, the moral and ethical dilemmas that I faced weekly were becoming increasingly difficult to deal with. However, as my unease grew, so too somehow did my courage, and I started to take a stand. Knock on the door of a bereaved family more than once? No. Try to persuade a reluctant R victim to waive their anonymity? No. Eventually, I got to the point where, when faced with an ethical drama I found intolerable, I started to purposely sabotage stories I was working on so that they wouldn't make the paper. As a news reporter whose very job depended on their byline count, it was madness and probably career suicide. But I reached the stage where I no longer cared. What was the worst that could happen? I get sacked? Fine. Why was I hanging on to a job where I had to continuously wrestle with my conscience and compromise my morals? Surely I was better than that. Well, at least this person finally sat down, self reflected, and said no. Many other people in the tabloids do not. They carry on. And certainly to get to the top of the food chain, to become the Dan Wootons, to become the Rebecca Brooks, to become the Camilla Tominys, to become the Maureens, you really have to step on so many people's backs, even if they're down on the floor. You don't just step on their backs, you stomp on them while they're down too. And if this is what some of these Royal Rota reporters are battling with internally day in, day out, what a life. Not anything I would want to do. No amount of money is worth this. Okay. Last thing before we check out. Yeah, so the doctor that interviewed Harry during the Spare tour He said that he regrets that the interview was paid, and that him and Harry also wanted the interview to be free afterwards. But it was, the organizers and the way that they had planned it. It was that you had to pay for it and then get a book. He wasn't really like saying anything negative. He was just saying, both myself and Harry wish that it was more accessible. And then he went on to say that following the interview, the way in which the tabloids treated him was horrendous, to the point where it really actually got to him and he had to see someone about it. This is someone who himself works in the psychology field. And the British tabloid press got to him. And it's always incredible to me how so many people who come into contact with Harry and Meghan, it's only it's only when they've experienced the tabloids through Harry and Meghan and being associated with them that they realize how bad this is. And you've heard the same sentiment from this guy, the guy who wrote, Prince Harry's ghostwriter. So many of them all saying the same thing. I have never experienced anything like this. And if you listen to this interview, this is, I believe, Stephen Bartlett, Diary of a CEO guy. Um, yeah, he really says that it really affected him. This guy, by the way, Stephen Bartlett, he was at that uh, that walkabout that William did when they went to prep. He's in the background. I'll play it again because it's hilarious.
What I know is we'll come this way actually.
What's this?
Oh, you're selling outside?
Yes, and then almost going on the French, I think.
Can I give you some money for this?
It's Gaza. Oh, Gaza, how are you?
Is it actually you?
Yes, yeah,
How are you doing down here?
Can someone get us some money for this? Can someone get us that £3 that we need to buy that magazine? And with that, I will read your comments and we will call it a day. Thank you so much, folks. Appreciate y'all. Still loving these pictures from the New York takeover. Love it, love it, love it. Hey, Anne Lewis. You can join the replay gang. Read Richard for filth. Who, Richard Eden? I mean, it really does look like that guy's threatening to sue him. So I don't think we need to bother about Maureen too much. It looks like something else is going to take care of him. Valerie, you said, it's funny. Holly said Meghan leaving, she is missing a golden opportunity. Somehow Holly leaving this morning. I wonder if she is not missing a golden opportunity also. Yeah. A golden opportunity to put yourself in a position where you would be more stressed. Is that the golden opportunity that Meghan was leaving? So now I hope she can understand what it means to put your mental health and well-being first. Hey, Puzzle Dot, how are you? Sorry, guys, just going through your comments before we just dance our way out. Gwen, you said, and karma has no clock. You'll always find the ones who deserve a visit. Indeed. And it's definitely doing its work. Because there's no way that you launch a 7-year hate campaign on one person for no reason and ain't nothing gonna happen to you. And Lewis, these female reporters were not supportive of women, but after their fame and paychecks, as long as it sold papers, until they found themselves trying to save their sanity. I do not trust this woman. Well, She chose to speak to bylines. So yeah, I don't necessarily trust her either, but I appreciate her being so candid because it definitely gives you an insight into their world. And also, when she describes the lifestyle, I mean, these people were living it up, and you see, go look at pictures of Rebecca Brooks and Piers Morgan, and almost every prime minister of the last few decades at these parties. They were truly living it up, even with the royals. There's pictures of them. There's that one picture with Rebecca Brooks, Piers Morgan, and the Queen. They love the proximity that they have to power, to money, and they want those good times to continue rolling. And the good times have not rolled this good for them since Meghan came along. And unfortunately, hate sells more than anything else. Sherry Ware, did everyone see that New York instituted laws for social media protection for children? No, I did not, but I'm glad somebody is making the moves to go right ahead and put those protections in. It's needed. JK, you said, nice rainy evening, glass of rosé. Hope you're enjoying your rosé. I do love me rosé too. Yes, cookies and cream. They don't really report the news. They're just mouthpieces for the palace. And I think that the palace is going to. Well, they've put themselves in a very sticky spot, right? Because they have to play the game. And it's like Harry said, his family are trapped. Those were his words. Yes, Anne Lewis. I mean, The Sun has always been one of the worst tabloids in the UK. The way they treat women, their slanderous way of reporting, their the Hillsborough disaster and the way that they reported on that, I think, is one of the most shameful things in British press history. Making those people out, trying to make them look like they were hooligans, just completely unacceptable. And that's who William decided to take a paycheck from when he took a paycheck from Murdoch. Okay. I am gonna end it there. Thank you so much, folks. Friday tomorrow. Dorothy Ross, you said, please check how long I've been a member just to see if it's the same as it's the same number that I have on my computer. All right, I'll double check. And does it actually? I don't know if it tells me on the back end. I'll see if it tells me on the back end, and I'll let you know tomorrow. Thank you so much for being a member. All right, folks, enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao.
If you would keep me waiting, I would wait a lifetime. In tricky situations, I will be a lifeline. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, no. Keep coming back for your time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. ocean in between us, still I feel your heartbeat. There's something about you, baby, that makes me feel complete. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, I know. Coming back for your time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling,